Hi, I'm Amy and welcome to Warpfiend Studios, where chaos reigns. So when GW first decided to make a futuristic version of their Warhammer Fantasy Battle setting, they fairly much dumped a lot of the old fantasy races in, added a healthy dose of influence from dark sci-fis like Frank Herbert's Dune. The squats were the result of porting the dwarves over into this setting. As such, they share a lot of the dwarvish traits. They're stubborn, they're short, they're stocky, bearded warriors. They love forging and machinery, and they worship their ancestors. Unlike orcs and Eldar, squats never really came together too well in the lore. They had this kind of Hell's Angel biker thing crossed with the traditional dwarfish archetype. It never really fully integrated. They were quietly dropped over the course of 2nd edition, although they hung around in Epic for a while longer, where they had cool vehicles like the land train that gave them a little bit more personality. When I first got into the hobby in 1995, squats were already in the process of being phased out. You couldn't buy any of the models for 40k anymore, although some of the epic ones were out still. Most of my knowledge of them at the time came from Codex Imperialis, the lore book that came with 2nd edition 40k. And here they only had 5 pages of lore where it just details something about their background, their means of war, their organisation and their personality. Here we learn that squats were originally human colonists in the mineral-rich worlds of the galactic core, where the environments were inhospitable and the gravity was much stronger. This caused them to evolve into the short but resilient form of the modern squat. Individual communities of squats, or strongholds, band together in leagues which formed the different sub-factions of the race. I never had a chance to paint up any squat minis growing up, so I was very much excited when a friend offered me a box to paint up for a video. These had seen a bit of wear and tear over the years, so I cleaned them up as the best I could, building up a squad of 5, trying to stick to original parts where possible, although I felt that one of them needed to have a hammer. And since there weren't enough head variations for all 5, I gave the hammer guy a mohawk from the Goliath gang sprue. There was a metal model in there as well who will stand in for squad leader. This fellow is one of the crew for the original Thud gun. The Thud gun is still available from Forge World, although it's now an Astra Militarum weapon. I like to imagine that somewhere in the galaxy there are still some squats who are furious at the guard for nicking their quad cannons. So, having primed these 5 squats, I'm first going to paint in their padded flak jackets with MEPHISTON red. I'll wash it down with CARROBURG crimson. Then I'll paint in the undersuits with KANTOR blue, as well as the shoulder pads on the squad leader. I really like the scheme in this cover art for the epic expansion Orc and Squat Warlords, although I have no idea what league this is supposed to represent, so if anyone watching recognises this scheme, please let me know. I found it pretty difficult to find information about squat colour schemes. So now I'm going to come back in with some MEPHISTON red and brighten up those jackets. Then I'm going to highlight that with some Evil Sunz Scarlet. Finally some Trollslayer orange. I washed the blue areas with DRAKENHOF Nightshade. I then neatened them up with some more KANTOR blue. Now I want to texture this fabric a bit, so I'm going to take some THUNDERHAWK blue and just paint in a series of lines over all of these areas that I want to highlight, trying to keep them as thin as possible. Then I mix 50-50 THUNDERHAWK blue and SCREAMNG skull, and I do the same thing again, only painting lines in the opposite direction and covering a smaller area. This is going to help us build up a rough cloth texture. Finally, I take some pure Screaming Skull and just dot it onto the very highlights and some small lines here and there. The blue looks a little too desaturated now because of the Screaming Skull, so I'm going to water down some DRAKENHOF Nightshade 50/50 with long and medium and just glaze the entire blue areas. So now I'm just going to base a few areas quickly, starting with all the pouches and belts in Dryad Bark. Then I come in with ZANDRI Dust and paint in the gloves. Then I base coat boots and the weapons in black. Everything that's metal can get base coated here as well. Now I'm going to use Castellan green. I'm going to base this guy's hat. And I'm also going to paint the casings on the weapons. Next I'm going to wash over all of the tan, brown and green parts with some Agrax Earthshade. Now I'm going to take some GORTHOR brown and start highlighting these pouches, of which these models are absolutely covered. Like, seriously, it's like they're taking design cues from Rob Liefeld or something. Then I give the pouches a final highlight with some ZANDRI Dust. Next I highlight the green with some ELYSIAN green. Just an edge highlight here. And then dot on some OGRYN camo on the highest parts. I'm going to tidy up the gloves with some more ZANDRI Dust. Then I'll highlight with some USHABTI bone. And a little bit of Screaming Skull. Now I highlight the black with some Mechanicus Standard Grey. And a bit of ADMNISTRATUM Grey. Going to base coat the helmets with some CORAX white. As well as coating some of the lining on their jackets. Now I'm just going to coat all of the white areas in some APOTHECARY white contrast paint. I really like this one for shading white, nice and quick. Next thing to do, I'm going to base coat some of the faces with CADIAN FLESHTONE. I'm going to mix the skin tones up a bit, do a couple of different methods just to add some variation to the squad. The other ones get base coated with CATACHAN flesh. At around this point I started to come up with little characters for these in my head. This one, he looks like M. Bison with a neck beard, so he is Neckbeard Bison. This guy looks just like the human version of Bebop from the Turtles cartoon. I'm going to paint him up as so with the purple beard and mohawk and glasses. So his other friend here with the glasses is going to be Rocksteady, obviously. And as for this one, I'm pretty sure that's Fidel Castro. Now I'm going to wash down the lighter skinned ones with some Reichland Fleshshade. And the darker skinned ones with some Agrax Earthshade. While that's drying, I'm just going to take 50-50 mix of Corax white and some white acrylic ink and highlight the helmet and all of the white areas. A key part of the squat lore is their love of drinking. They are uncouth, unpredictably violent and frequently drunk. And who could forget the classic line, "More beer! I'm parched as a sand toad's nadgy bits." For this reason, I'm going to take a 2-1 mix of some Screamer Pink and some Cadian FLESHTONE and paint in the noses to give that terminal alcoholic look. Then I'm going to highlight the face with some Cadian FLESHTONE. Then I'm going to use some KISLEV flesh. And a final highlight of 50-50 KISLEV flesh and Screaming Skull. For the ones with dark skin, I take a 2-1 mix of Screamer Pink and CATACHAN flesh to do the nose. I tidy up with some CATACHAN flesh. Highlight with some Blood Reaver flesh. And a final highlight with Night Quester flesh. I'm going to base coat this guy's shades in black and I'll just highlight it like I highlighted the shoes. I'm going to paint the grey hair on some of them with Mechanicus Standard Grey. Bebop gets his hair and glasses in Xereus Purple. And the others get some MOURNFANG Brown. I wash the brown and the grey beards with some Agrax Earthshade. And the purple with some Druchii Violet. I highlight the grey beard with some ADMNISTRATUM Grey. And highlight the red-orange beard with some SQUIG Orange. I use some Cacophony Purple on Bebop here. I also draw a thin line of it in the middle of the shades to give the kind of slit shade look that I wanted. And a little black line in the middle of that. Okay, now I drop some black paint into the eye sockets very carefully. I get my Corax white acrylic ink mix and I paint in the eyeballs. And then dot in the pupils with some more black. Really hard to get a good angle on this. Now I'm going to use the CORAX white on the tip of this guy's cigar, which I then coat in Green Stuff World Fluorescent Red. Lovely quick glowing cigar effect. Now I'm going to take some MEPHISTON Red, and I decided to paint some stripes on these helmets. Now I take some ELYSIAN SCARLET and just hit the upper parts of those stripes. Now I take my CORAX white and I just tidy up any spots that are uneven. Then I give it a matte coat before moving on to the metallics. So I base coat the steel parts in black metal by scale 75, although any steel coloured paint you like will work. The gold parts I use Retributor armour. The steel gets a wash of Nuln Oil. The Retributor armour gets some Reikland Flesh Shade. And then I give all the metal an edge highlight of Heavy Metal by scale 75. I'm just going to finish off the bases and then come back and show you how it looks. So that's our squats painted. I had a lot of fun with those ones, and who knows, maybe we might be getting some new models for squats in the future. Not only did we get 2 squat characters for Necromunda in the last few years, but a lot of people have pointed out this teaser passage in the Psychic Awakening Pariah book that seems to leave the door open for them to possibly return to 40k. Thank you very much for watching this video all the way through. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and if you're in the UK and want to support the channel, you could consider using my affiliate link with Element Games down in the description. Get all your discount hobby stuff and support the channel at the same time. I'd also like to thank my friend Aaron Toxic for providing the new music used in this video and going forward. You can find his SoundCloud link in the description. I really recommend you check him out, really good stuff. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching. Bye bye!